So upcoming Friday nights, me and the degenerate boys that we are, we're coming back with the betting show.
You look at the way he bounces off tacklers, the way that he keeps his eyes downfield, his vision, his ability to find holes, his pass catching ability, right? Because he had.
In my lifetime, I'd put him at probably around the 2 area, with, again, the only other person up there being King Ricky.
Anthony Richardson or Caleb Williams at the 111.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of B.S.ing Sports here on the B.S.ing Network, where we do a little BS and we talk a whole lot of sports. I slowed it down even more a little bit for you that time there, Jake, just so you could see how it's meant to be done. And yeah, so as you can see, we're on our NFL Prediction Week 14 show. Jake is with me this week. Jake, how you doing?
Oh, good, buddy. Good. I'm excited to finally get to be back on one. It's been a minute.
Yeah. We want to apologize. We missed last week. It looks like all three of us, just full transparency, forgot.
I was at the LSU game.
I worked earlier in the day and did just happen to forget. It's unfortunate. It happens. We have lives, obviously. Sorry that we missed out last week. Dennis, thank you for joining us here. We appreciate the flames.
The Algo Boy.
Who?
That's the guy on our betting show now that has the algorithm.
Oh, cool. Perfect. Looking forward to having you in this prediction thing next year there, bud.
Okay.
All right. So, as I already said, this is a predictions episode. If I look distracted, it's because I do have the Georgia-Tennessee game on above me.
Nice.
Sorry, not sorry. Priorities, right?
Absolutely.
All right, let's get into it. It is a prediction show, so let's start it off. Obviously, on Thursday night, we had the Packers and Lions facing off. It was a great game. Lions end up being victorious. I took the Packers. I was hoping for some magic there.
Yeah, I thought the Packers defense was going to show up and, actually maybe stop them a little bit, but no, they just full-blown.
One punt, the Lions punted the ball one time. You're not going to win games. You're not making guys punt.
Nope. So starting 1-2 on the week isn't good.
Which is funny because I ended up starting 2-1, even though I took the Packers.
Hey, man, it is what it is. But, I mean, we got a lot of games left here. And
we do got a lot of games. Shout out to Ryan, who broke my all-time weekly record. He did get 36 wins last week. My previous record was 34, which I matched last week, funny enough. So, again, shout out to Ryan. Also, shout out to, I believe it was Bolton, who had 35, also beating our weekly record. So, shout out to both of those guys for good weeks last week. I'm hoping to get right back into the leadership board there with this week.
Yeah.
So, first on the docket, we have the Jaguars visiting the Titans. Jaguars are without Trevor Lawrence, likely for the rest of the season. I'm sure if you haven't yet, you should have probably already seen the hit by Al-Shaair on Trevor Lawrence.
Man, I got a lot of backlash for that hit. I don't think
I don't think it was that. I don't think it was. Listen, throwing a forearm into the head was the mistake. If he just hits him normal, I don't think it's really a dirty hit. He came in fast, but you don't know if Trevor Lawrence is going to slide.
And my defense is he's putting that forearm out to I think try and move out of the way, but you're moving so fast at that speed.
Yeah.
And I mean, we've seen it so many times, especially with Patrick Mahomes, where he knows he's not going to get hit, so he goes and gets another 10 yards.
Exactly.
It just.
I think you and I are on the same page here. I don't think it was an intentional dirty hit. I don't agree with a 3-game suspension that he got. But it is unfortunate that Trevor Lawrence took one to the head like that. I
think a fine is okay, $20,000 fine for doing that, sure. But 3 games is insane. That is he's not getting paid for those 3 games, and it's going to be more than $20,000.
Yeah, exactly.
So I don't know. He's a mortar. They chose to make sure this never happened to protect their quarterbacks.
Exactly. They made an example out of him because he's the first dirty hit on a sliding quarterback in years. So they made an example of him. I don't agree with it. It's unfortunate. Sorry, rest up, Trevor Lawrence. Obviously, after the game, Alshire like apologized significantly, like, "Hey, Trevor, I'm really sorry. Hope you rest up, you get better." And then Trevor tweeted out later in the night, like, "Hey, I don't think that was a dirty hit. Like, it just happened."
Yeah.
Dennis says it shouldn't be the defense's job to protect the quarterback when they slide.
Yeah,
Yes,
it was a late slide too. It's not like
oh, it's a late
was,
slide.
like it's not like he slowed down. It was, I'm pretty sure, a third down play. And so you're trying to stop that quarterback at all costs. I didn't hate it. And so yeah, it's not the defense's job to protect the quarterback. That is the quarterback's job. And it is football. We are playing a man sport. They're getting paid man wages.
Right? It's
to get
physical.
hit. Like,
Yeah.
I get it. CTE is part of the job. Like, if I go get crushed because I'm lifting something too heavy, like, that's on me at the end of the day. Like, I know the consequences of my job if I go get electrocuted. Like,
exactly. I'm right with you.
And
all right. So the
yeah.
Jags are visiting the Titans. Titans are favored by 4.5. 40.5 is the over under. We both went with the Titans. Weedsterman says, "I don't have a life, so that's why I'm here." Well, we're glad to have you here. Thanks.
Yeah, we love it. Welcome.
Yes.
Give us who you like for this Jags Titans game. But
yeah, so again, we both took the Titans. Now, having said that, I very easily could see the Jags winning this game. Mac Jones has not played poorly. Not great. I'm not sitting here saying Mac Jones has played great. I'm saying he hasn't played as poorly as he was in New England.
You're telling me he's not playing like his Pro Bowl self his rookie year?
That's funny.
Oh, yeah.
So I've got the Titans to cover, and I do think it goes over because I got a 24-21 type score in my, or I'm sorry, a 27-21 type score in my head. I don't know why I think the Titans are going to score that many points, but I just like have this gut feeling. Why do you have them not to cover?
So the Jags literally have, I don't know the stat, but they cover pretty much every game. They don't win them, but they cover. And to me, the Jags with Mac Jones aren't that much terrible than with Trevor Lawrence. They're getting healthier. They have all their players back. And Mac Jones, like you said, last week he looked good, looked serviceable, covered against Houston, who I think is a better team than the Titans. And the Titans, outside of a terrible first quarter last week, they play good ball. They play enough ball to compete with the Commanders. And so, yeah, I think the Jags cover. I think it's a field goal game. And I do like the over here, but I think it's like, honestly, I think this 40.5 is a beautiful score because I could totally see a 21-20 ball game or a 24-20 ball game. And so
I like it.
That's why I got the over here.
Dennis in his algorithms says Tennessee 23, Jacksonville 18. So I mean, getting right on in there, right? 41.
Yeah, he said he agrees with you. He says the Titans are going to cover in the over.
Yeah. Next, we have the Jets, who just look god awful week in and week out. It's almost like they thought they were going to bring in a 40-year-old quarterback, and he wasn't going to play like a 40-year-old quarterback. I don't get it.
I honestly don't even know what it is at this point because they're healthy.
And they have talent.
Yeah, they got talent at every position, and it's just nothing's working. This team's just not in cohesion. When the defense shows up, the offense doesn't show up. When the offense finally shows up, puts up points, the defense gets 30 scored on them. So, yeah, I don't know what to think here, but, I mean, we agree all but the over here.
Yeah. So Jets are going to Miami. Miami's favored by 6.5. 44.5 is an over-under. The reason I took the no cover is just because the Jets defense for the most part this season has looked solid. They have. Aaron Rodgers is not. I don't think they can score points. So I think the Dolphins win 21-14, and that's under 44.5. That's where I'm at. 21-14, 24-13, 24-10, something like that. I just don't think the Jets can score. So that's why I took the under.
No, honestly, not a bad bet here for the under personally, but I like what the Dolphins are doing. They are the only team that scares me right now in the AFC playoff race to dethrone Denver. So they're healthy. The defense isn't bad, but I see both teams here scoring 20 points. And so it's going to be close here. A 21-24 ball game would not shock me. It's nothing to raise anything, but I could also see the Dolphins going out there and putting up 30. And
That's a really good point. I could see that as well. For me, the Dolphins just haven't been consistent enough for me.
yeah,
Like
that's fair.
week in, week out, they give you a different product. I think,
Unless your name's John Smith.
yeah, seriously.
Then it has just been consistent.
Here's what I think is going on with the Miami Dolphins. Yes, obviously Tua missed time with a concussion, and then even Skylar Thompson got injured, and they had to throw somebody else out there. Mike McDaniel has not changed his game plan in 3 years. It's been the exact same game plan for 3 seasons. You're in the NFL, bud. You think defensive coordinators haven't figured you out? Like, that's what I think is wrong with the Dolphins.
No, I agree with you. And Ken Brent said best. Who's going to show up here? Lots of field goals. Man, Dennis is with you here.
Yeah, Dolphins 19, Jets 17. Yeah, there we go. Thank you, Dennis. I should probably actually bring the comment up for visual purposes.
Everybody to see. And it'll be interesting to see that. Like, all I gotta say is I am crushing the over-unders. I think I'm like 110 and something. I didn't update it this week. It's not going to be on there.
That's fine. I am terrible, flat out honest, terrible at over-unders.
Yeah, I was 110 and 79.
Yeah.
So
you're 179. I'm 88 91. I'm not the worst though, surprisingly. I thought I was.
No,
I'm actually third best.
Oh yeah, no, over-unders for pretty much the whole group has just been a disaster this year.
Yeah.
And
I'm pretty good at straight up though. So are you.
Total football.
Total football.
Buy and sell. Appreciate you coming in, dude.
Thank you very much, buy and sell. Appreciate you.
But yeah, I couldn't shake the feeling. I just with how much talent the Dolphins and Jets both have on offense, I just can't.
Breece Hall is out. Now, having said that,
Braylon Allen is just looking good.
Yeah, looking good.
That's a big kid. 20 years old. I think he finally hit 21.
Hey, you can finally have a beer.
Yeah, dude, he's a hoss. And so, like,
he's a workhorse. I think they'll be fine. I'm
glad you reminded me of that. I got to make fantasy. I got to make some fantasy trades for that. See if any contenders or playoff-driven teams want to get rid of Breece.
Well, for those of you watching, Carson Beck took a hard hit right before the half. He has his helmet in his hand walking out to the field.
Oh, yeah? Is he going to play?
Oh, no. This must have been right before half, walking into the locker. Oh, no, he's out. No. Whoever 14 is playing. Sorry, I went on a roller coaster there with you guys. That's my bad.
Watch for Isaiah Davis. Buy and sell. I mean, that is a name. But Kim Brandt says Carson Beck
is out, yeah. Buy and sell says watch out for Isaiah Davis. Carson Beck is out.
I don't know who Georgia's backup quarterback is, but I really hope he goes in there and just lights it up for some reason.
I feel like in college that's way more likely than in the NFL, right? Like so much because I mean they get these kids to come to the school. They're going to start eventually. This is Carson Beck's last year. This is probably the starting quarterback next year. Mm-hmm. He very well could come in and light it up.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely.
When I have a name, I'll let you guys know. Falcons visiting the Vikings. Falcons are on a long skid right now. Vikings 10-2 right now. Minnesota is favored by 6.5. 45.5 is the over/under. We agree on Vikings. I don't think it's a question on why we agree on the Vikings. But you think they cover? You think they win by at least 7? And you don't think that both teams score a lot. So I'm interested in hearing it from your side.
Basically here is the Vikings are one of the most blitz rate team in the NFL. And so just the Falcons are not good right now. I would not be shocked if Kirk Cousins has another bad game and they lose another one here, that the Falcons don't go to Penix, whose arm is live, and Kirk Cousins' arm is just nothing. He has no oomph behind it. Don't know if it's the Achilles injury right now. But, if they keep losing, and I think they are going to lose to a very good Vikings team here that is just loaded. They have Hawkinson. They have JJ. They have Aaron Jones, who's playing good. Even when he's not playing, Cam Akers went in there, looked serviceable. They have Jordan Addison. This team is just too good, and this Falcons defense is not elite enough to stop it. But the Vikings defense is good enough to stop the Falcons here. And so I see an under here, and Dennis what is that, 43? Dennis
That's
thinks the
40,
under
yeah.
here hits too. But
Buy and
I
sell
just-
says Cousins is 35, 42, and 2 on the road. He doesn't care that he played in Minneapolis or Minnesota, rather. He's taken Minnesota as well. And listen, all of the stuff there, I agree with you. However, I do think after a bad game like Cousins just had, the four interceptions against the Chargers, I think he comes out, and I do think it's a bit of a shootout here. And for that reason, I took the over, and also for them not to cover. I don't think they win by 7. I think they win by 4 or 3.
They need to use Kyle Pitts. I don't know what they're doing. Kyle Pitts went out there, had 1 target. He is a first-round draft pick. He is good. And I just don't know what they're doing right now.
Kyle Pitts has been so unfortunate to have been drafted by the Atlanta Falcons. For whatever reason, even the old regime, they just don't target the tight end. They just don't. But, like, if you don't target the tight end, why draft one at 4 in the draft? Like, what sense does that make for me? None. That's the answer.
It's like best player available, I feel like, is what they went with.
At 4, that's a mistake. At 4, you take the best player that of your need. And at the time, Julio was old. Matt Ryan was old. There were people on the board that they could have taken.
They had Ridley, I'm pretty sure, at the time still, and just
he was suspended that season, though.
But yeah, I don't think the Falcons are good. They're not a good football team right now. They're in shambles, and I think the Vikings are hot, and they're still trying to chase the Lions. So they're going to come out here, and I think they're going to just put it to the Falcons, who just, as an NFC South team, they're average at best. Yeah,
I mean, we'll talk about this when we get to the Bucs. I think the Bucs win that division. I know there's a little bit of football left, but I think the Bucs win that division. I just, for some reason, same thing with the Jags Titans. In my gut, I have this feeling that it's going to be a shootout, and the Vikings come out on top. That's pretty much where I'm at. I've stopped going with like analytics and looking at stuff. I've started to just go with my gut. I've been doing better going with my gut. So that's where I'm at. For those of you watching us and also the Georgia-Tennessee game like I am, obviously I'm distracted. I'm not sorry. Gunnar Stockton is leading Georgia on their best drive of the day. And it's like not even close. They're already on the other side of the 40, like other side of the Tennessee's 40. And they just got another first down. Gunnar Stockton, name to watch.
I'm going to have to look him up.
Yeah, no, I'm going to have to.
I want to say he was the top 5.
Texas, not Tennessee. That's correct. Sorry, Pop.
I want to say it was a top 5 like 2 years ago. A recruit, but I could be dead wrong. Name sounds highly familiar, but let's jump into this next game here.
Yes. Let's get into the Saints visiting the Giants. New Orleans, 5.5-point underdog. 40.5 is the over-under. We take it the same, Saints to cover and the under. You and I had a very brief conversation before the show started about the shambles that we think the Giants organization is. I don't know if you agree with me or not, but I think Joe Schoen or whatever, Jay Schoen, whatever his name is, the general manager, is likely getting fired at the end of the season.
I thought it already came out that he was.
Say it again?
I thought it already came out that it was. And Dennis, we're not going to put that one up there, Chief. No. Dennis is a Giants fan, so.
Did the Giants fire the GM? No, I
thought it came out that they were going to. Like, they were going to move on.
I mean, if he's already knows at the end of the season that he's done, what's his incentive to do anything? I don't think you leak that kind of information. Like, I don't think you leak that kind of information. So I do think he gets fired. Again, I don't know if you agree with me there. And
I agree.
I know we just kind of put Kirk Cousins down in the last game, but we talked about this right before the show, right? Like, if I'm the New York Giants, and we're going to have these conversations all off season, obviously we run a show, we'll talk about this stuff. If I'm the Giants and we think that I have a team, which I think the Giants do think they have a good defense, they've got some weapons on offense. I think they do think they're close to being a playoff team. I'd kick the doors on Minnesota. I'd kick the doors on Atlanta. Kirk Cousins, Sam Darnold. What's the interest rate there? Like, are you guys willing to part ways with one of those guys? And if he does, or if they are, I think that's their best bet rather than drafting another quarterback, because they made a mistake with Daniel Jones. And they've made other mistakes, you know. I think you go get a veteran. That's my opinion on it.
The thing is you don't even have to wait. Like, Darnold he's on a 1-year contract, I'm pretty sure, so he won't be there next year.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Good point.
Yeah, and so it wouldn't shock me, but at the same time, do that over drafting one of these quarterbacks this year, and then next year, like build around a team. You are 2 years away, Dennis. You can agree or disagree with this. I think you're 2 years away. You go build up your team this year in the offseason, and then you go into next year's draft class, the 2026, that has a bunch of promising young quarterbacks right now that are going to be in it, like Archie Manning and things
Yeah.
like that. And you kind of just run with that. Like build right now, build in the trenches, get that offensive line good, get another receiver, and like, could you imagine T. Higgins and Neighbors on the same team?
Yeah, they would be dynamic. They really would. They'd still need
Yeah.
a quarterback to get them the football, which is
I
where my
think
veteran
any
comment comes
quarterback
in.
though, like any quarterback would do it. Archie Baldy says.
Georgia scored. Best
Oh,
drive of the game
man.
with the backup quarterback. Throwing it out there.
Look, I would have took Georgia if I knew Carson Beck was going to get hurt.
Hey, listen, Gunner Stockton. Keep that name. Let's be familiarizing ourselves with that name. Yeah, not a real big reason to talk about this game. Obviously, we have the
No,
same
it's going to
thing,
be bad.
right? Yeah, I do believe it's going to be bad. I'm hoping for MVS to eat because I just traded for him in a league where I'm in a playoff push. So let's hope he does. What a weird thing to have to actually say out loud. I hope Marcus Valdez-Scantling eats.
Oh, dude, in our so when me, Ryan, and Joey went to Ohio for the Fantasy Football Expo, I'm the 6th seed right now. I have to win this week to secure my playoff spot. I don't. It's single quarterback. It's just a redraft. I have Josh Allen, but he's on a bye.
Oh,
Or not.
oh
No, I have Bo Nix, and he's on a bye.
that's the Bills are playing this week.
Yeah. And I went down the quarterback line of like quarterbacks available. I'm starting Will Levis. And I'm starting the 49ers running back. Guindo or whatever.
Window, yeah.
And I'm just praying to God that they come and just do enough to get me through this week.
To your point about the Titans and Will Levis, they played poorly in the first quarter last week, but they turned it on there. And Will Levis has looked better. He hasn't looked like that. What are we going to call it? Shell-shocked?
Yeah.
As he was in the first 2 weeks. He's looked more serviceable. I think he'll be okay there. I would be really nervous having to start a practice squad running back, even if it is on the 49ers.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, it'll be interesting. We'll see. But I climbed from the pits of I was 2-5, and now I'm 7-6. And so.
Well done.
Oh, yeah. No, it was a struggle. Thank Bo Nix and Cortland Sutton.
Yeah, fair enough.
Honestly, I picked them both up, and my team started winning. But, yeah, the Giants-Saints game, it's not going to be watched. Sorry if you're a Giants fan or a Saints fan. Saints have nobody at receiver. Carr's running for his life. Kamara. And then, yeah, Giants are the Giants. They have neighbors. Drew Lock is going to turn the ball over. It's going to be bad.
I would agree with that, yeah. Panthers visiting the Eagles. Eagles are favored by 12.5. That's the biggest spread this week. 45.5 is the over-under. I took them not to cover. You took them to cover. I realize that the Panthers are bad. However, the Panthers have looked good the last few weeks. They took the Chiefs, which I'm not saying the Chiefs are like on lighting the world on fire, but they are 11-1 or 12-1, whatever they are. And then they took the Buccaneers, team that I just said was going to win that division, to overtime last week. So I really hope the Eagles aren't sleeping on the Panthers here. So I took them not to cover. I think they win by 10. I don't think it's a close game, and I think there's another garbage time touchdown that makes the game look closer than it actually is. And because of that, I took them not to cover. The under is because I don't know that the Panthers can score on the Eagles' #1 ranked defense.
Yeah, no, I don't think the Panthers are going to be able to run the ball. I think the Eagles, look, I'm hyping the Eagles up here, so I really hope they don't make me look stupid here, Bill. But I think the Eagles are one of the best teams in football right now. I think they're playing great football. Their defense is playing lights out. And you're not asking a lot of Hurts. You're not asking him to throw the ball 30 times. You have a great run team right now with Barkley doing Barkley things. Outside of quarterback, he is the MVP on the year right now, just with what he's been doing. And just the Panthers have been playing good, but I think it's a fallacy. I think a bunch of people are going to be betting on the Panthers to cover this. And I literally think the Eagles go out there and just mollywop these guys. They just dunk on them. And there's going to be no late touchdowns here to catch it. I think they go up big early, and the Panthers are going to have to throw, and they are not a throwing team right now. Not with Bryce Young.
Here's why I'm hesitant to say that they cover 12.5 or even mollywop the Panthers. It's a game against a team that's got 2 wins or 3 wins, whatever the Panthers have on the season, sandwiched between the Ravens and Steelers. Right? So I'm nervous that they're coming into it knowing that, like, okay, we should beat this team. We can beat this team. But, like, even if the coaching staff isn't, are the players like, but the Steelers are coming. Like, we got to go to Pittsburgh next week. Like, that's going to be a tough game. And, I hope not. I hope the Eagles come out and put 60 points on the Panthers and the Panthers don't score a touchdown. Obviously, that's something I hope for.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't know that will be the case,
I get it. Solid fact here. Like, no, you're good. But I think they're professional, and I think the talent is just too much there. Even if they did overlook them, I don't think the Panthers are there. And with what they did do with the Chiefs and with the Tampa Bay Bucks, I would like to think the Eagles are like, okay, look, they make these games competitive. So, like, hopefully they realize that is not something to.
Yeah, I hear you. I do. And you must have listened to our recap show on Tuesday because I said everything that you just said. They're not asking too much of Hurts. They're running the ball really, really well. They're making sure that he doesn't throw the ball 30 times. And again, this defense is just shutting people down.
Oh, yeah.
Zach Bond, man. Zach frickin' Bond.
But, even Dennis thinks they cover here. And the over hits.
Okay, fair enough.
Over does not hit. Over does not hit.
Over does not hit.
He agrees with me on this one.
All right, fair enough. Speaking of the Steelers, the Browns are going to Pittsburgh this week. Pittsburgh is favored by 6.5, but they were favored by 4.5 2 weeks ago when they lost in the snow. 43.5 is the over-under. I have no idea why I took the over here. Oh, that was a mistake. Well, I took the over, so let me try and defend it. Russell Wilson did just have a 5 total touchdown game.
James Conner just he threw for 497 yards last week against Denver. So.
Russ is starting. What's that phrase? Let Russ cook. Russ is starting to cook in Pittsburgh.
I refuse to talk on Russell Wilson. So
fine. However, their defense did get kind of lit up by Joe Burrow last week. Now, Joe Burrow is a different animal. I'm not saying Jameis Winston is Joe Burrow. But I could see this game going over. Obviously, I took the over. At some point, I must have felt that it was going to go over. But I think it's a shootout, much like it was 2 weeks ago in the snow. I think it's a close game. Steelers come out victorious this time. I kind of wish I didn't take the over, but I did. Yeah,
Tim Hawkins saying Winston had a 6-touchdown game. He did. Threw 4 touchdowns to the Browns and 2 to Denver. But, I actually would not be shocked if the Browns upset the Steelers here. Look, the Steelers are a one-trick pony. You take away the run and you get pressure on Russell Wilson like the Browns did last week.
So there was a video that came out that Jameis Winston was singing Christmas carols on the sideline. And when somebody asked him about it, he said, hell yeah, it's snowing. Christmas carols. Let's go.
I love it.
Yeah, no, I mean, I love it, right?
Absolutely love it. And Dennis, we will fight tooth and nail over this. Russell Wilson is not. Russell Wilson's a one-trick pony that throws deep balls down the sideline. That is it. He has no feel for pressure. He cannot climb in the pocket, cannot go through read progressions, can't throw in the middle of the field. You want to know how I know this? I just watched it the last 2 years. That's how I know this. Look, I don't hate Russell Wilson. I think he's a great dude, kind of like, a dork. But other than that, nothing else here. Nothing else you can ask for here, buddy. But I could see the Browns upsetting here. They're plus 230 odds right now to win it.
They just upset them 2 weeks ago in Cleveland. Like, it's obvious that they can do it.
Yeah. And so I like it. I like them not to cover. And if they do win, I think it's still a close game. And I don't think they put up a ton of points. That's the only way I see the Steelers winning here. If Jameis goes and makes
I'm not saying that Russell Wilson didn't play well this season, that he won a Super Bowl. I am saying, however, he had the best defense by far in football on the opposite side. Much like when Peyton Manning won his final ring, it wasn't Peyton Manning. Russell Wilson won a ring, but it wasn't Russell Wilson.
Russell Wilson was 1 yard away from having 2 rings. And you want to know what he did? He threw the ball. Like, Like, don't tell me. Like, Russell Wilson got
Play
carried.
call. Play call.
Pete Carroll hid his flaws perfectly.
I would agree with that. Yeah. I would agree with that.
Like, just everything they did was to Russell's strengths, and that was play action, deep balls. Doug Baldwin did it. Tyler Lockett did it. And DK Metcalf in his rookie year, when he wasn't a refined route runner, run and go balls. Like,
That's true. That's true.
what he was doing. And, yeah, so if you make Russ throw, this game's going to go under. That's all.
Fair enough. Raiders at Bucks. Tampa favored by 6.5. 46.5 is the over-under. We both took the Bucks. We both took no cover. We both took the under. I think it's pretty cut and dry. We don't really need to talk about it. Our first disagreement on teams. Seahawks visiting the Cardinals. Arizona favored by 2.5. 44.5 is the over-under. I took the Cardinals to cover and the over. You took the Seahawks. I'll let you go first.
The Seahawks are playing really good football right now. 2 weeks ago, they just beat the Cardinals. And if memory serves me right, they beat them pretty bad. I don't think the Cardinals are there yet. I think their defense is starting to look good. They have playmakers, but they are not there yet. The Seahawks are a more complete team. Their defense is really good. And their offense, now that they have DK back, JSN has shown up, and Kenneth Walker's hurt. And I think that actually benefits the Seahawks because Zach Charbonnet is a really good running back. And he's the one that scored last week. He does everything. I think he averaged 6 or 7 yards a carry last week. Granted, he only had 4, he only had 4. But he catches the ball out of the backfield. I think he is the best running back for that team. Kenneth Walker is more just a downhill runner.
I don't disagree. I don't disagree with that statement. I do think Zach Charbonnet is the better fit for that offense.
Just a more complete back, if you will.
Yeah.
And just the Seahawks offense right now scares me. They're playing good ball. As long as Geno doesn't turn the ball over, we're good. And I don't think the Cardinals' defensive line can get to Geno to make him turn the ball over. And so I see the Seahawks just winning it, and they win this division, in my opinion.
I took the Cardinals. As you pointed out 2 weeks ago, Seahawks beat the Cardinals in convincing fashion. I agree. Division games don't usually go like that. And division series don't usually go back-to-backers like that. I realize there's one-offs. There's always going to be one-offs. But I don't see it. I think this is a close game. I've got 27-24, 24-21. I got a close game. I really do. But I've got a 3-point game, which is why I take them to cover. So, Cards.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Dennis thinks Seahawks 20, Cardinals 22. So he kind of agrees with you, except they don't cover.
Ken Brandt says revenge game. Dennis again says battle of two mid teams. I mean, you're looking at mid teams. Look at the NFC South. Like that. Those are mid teams.
Those are the mid teams.
I say that as if like Baker Mayfield isn't the only quarterback this season to beat both the Lions and the Eagles, though.
Has he really?
He beat the Lions and the Eagles. Yeah.
That's a fun little fact.
Isn't that a like fun little nugget?
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Look, as a Baker hater,
I know you're
about the beginning of this season. I was talking mad shit on Baker, and
you were.
He 100%.
He's coming back around.
He made me eat those words.
Yeah. Bills visiting the Rams. Buffalo favored by 5.5. 48.5 is the over-under. Same thing. Don't really need to talk too much about it. Bills covering the over. I think the Bills are a very good football team, and you just saw what the Eagles, who are a very good football team, did to the Rams. I don't think this is any different. I just don't. I think I think it's probably close in the first half, and then the second half, the Bills open it up.
Josh Allen looks like Superman. That was a good photo. And yeah, no, I mean, this is pretty cut and dry. The Bills are a great team. The Rams they don't have the defense to stop that team. And I think the Rams offense is going to put up 20 points, like minimum here, 20, 24 points. But I don't think at the end of the day it's enough. I see the Bills putting up 31. And
same.
So,
yeah, I've got a 31 something score in my head.
Yeah, 31-20, and that still puts it at the over here, and the Bills covering.
All right, moving on then. Bears at 49ers. Niners are favored by 4.5 points. 43.5 is the over-under. I realize this is a Kyle Shanahan run offense. I realize that defensively they still look pretty decent. I also realized that the Bears, outside of a stupid coaching decision, almost beat the 11-1 Lions. I also realized that Caleb Williams, under new offensive coordinator, has looked way more competent at quarterback. And I also know the 49ers are missing their 2 starting running backs. Not to mention Brandon Ayuk. Trent Williams doesn't seem to be looking like he's playing. The Niners are just banged up. And because they're so banged up, I'm taking the Bears.
I don't hate the pick here. And I have the 49ers not to cover. I think this is going to be a dogfight. But at the end of the day, I think it's going to come down to Caleb Williams not being turning the ball over, holding on to the ball too long, taking sacks at the most inopportune times when he doesn't need to. And you're right, he has looked better. But that is because they are taking that out of his hands. They are taking the entire thought process out of his hands.
Good coaching does. They put
No, I get it. I totally get it. He was not ready for this. And he finally has a coach that's like, okay, we are running a slant here and a corner here. If the slant's not there, look to the corner. If not, take off. That is what you need to do. He has the most rushing yards that he had since they have fired him. He is taking off. They have simplified everything. And so I don't hate it. And, third lowest confidence of the week. So he says he doesn't like this game.
He's not confident in the Niners either. Yeah. It's just, again, I'm going with my gut a lot here. Knowing how banged up the Niners are, it's hard for me to take the Niners right now. Like I said earlier in the year, I say it every week, until somebody shows me how to beat the Lions. I did go against the Lions this particular week because it was a division game. But usually, until somebody shows me they could beat the Lions, I probably won't take the Lions. But injuries impacted my bet on that one too. I know the Lions defense is hurt. I know it. So I took the Packers, right? I think it's the same feeling with the 49ers. We know that they're a good team when they're healthy, but they're not healthy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's where I'm at.
Yeah, I get it. But yeah, no, I don't hate the Bears pick at all, but I do think the 49ers find a way to win this. But I think it is a boring defensive battle. Not going to be a fun game to watch.
Agreed. I like that we both took the Chargers here. I really, really do. Chargers are visiting the Chiefs. Chiefs favored by 3.5, even though their offense can't seem to do anything. 42.5 is the over-under. If anybody comes into the chat and says the Chiefs are winning football games because of Patrick Mahomes, you're out of your damn mind. Their defense is holding up really, really well. And good for them, right? Good on them. But Mahomes and that offense are doing just enough to win football games. I think they lead the league in one-score games. If being a 12-1 or 11-1, whatever their record is, team, they shouldn't be in that many close games. They should be beating teams, not just beating teams.
Oh, yeah. They should have lost to the Panthers, should have lost to Denver.
They should have lost to the Chargers.
Should have lost to the Chargers. And I think they're going to lose to the Chargers this week.
Correct.
I think the Chargers are going to go out there and just manhandle this team. I think the defense is going to get all over Patrick Mahomes. It's going to be very interesting to watch. I'm excited to watch this game. I'm glad it's a Sunday night game. It should be fun to watch. And
Dennis says Chargers 18, Chiefs 20, but actually this is the lowest confidence game I have this week, and he's got money on the Chargers.
Yeah, I was about to say I'm putting a small little underdog 3-teamer together, which is the Chargers, the Browns, and the Seahawks. So
I like that.
Yeah, I'm gonna just put a little bit of money on that. The odds are so great. So, yeah. And if you want to take the points for all those, take the points. It's okay.
Yeah, that's fair. Here. Yeah. I don't know who's going to be watching Monday Night Football. I can confidently say I won't be watching Monday Night Football. The Bengals are visiting the Cowboys. Cincinnati is favored by 5.5. 49.5 is the over-under. I honestly think the Bengals can put up 30 points by themselves and that the Cowboys won't do enough to get to 50.
Dude, I have no idea how this game is going to go. For some reason, Vegas has to know something because this is the outside of the Lions-Packers game is the highest projected over-under.
I will say this first, and I mentioned it on our Tuesday show with Ryan. For whatever reason, Cooper Rush has figured out the rest of the NFL, just not the Philadelphia Eagles. He's got 2 losses in his starting career, and they're both to the Eagles.
Division game means more. I don't know.
I don't know.
Let's be honest. The Eagles' defense is good, so I could see that being a problem here.
Rufus, thanks for joining us. I had some whiskey, but it's empty now.
No drinking tonight. No.
But
Not
yeah,
for me.
again, we both take the Bengals. We both take them to cover, and we both take the under. Obviously, neither of us think the Cowboys can do much. Joe Burrow is having one of the best statistical seasons of any quarterback career or season, let alone, in recent years. It's so unfortunate that his defense can't stop anybody.
Oh, it's so bad. It's so bad to I feel bad for him because it's go down.
Yeah, sorry.
It's just not fair. And what's funny is the Bengals used to have a really great defense, and
They did, yeah. I mean, they went to a Super Bowl 3 years ago. Like, you don't go to the Super Bowl and have a bad team. Like, you don't.
Yeah, that's how that works.
It is how that works.
I mean, at the end of the day, you got to have a balanced team to win, and they do not.
Agreed. And he's not in the. Tim Hawkins says Burrow's having an MVP caliber season, and he's not in the conversation because his team has 4 wins.
100%. If he was in the playoff discussion right now, he is the MVP of this.
If he's 8-4, this is definitely a conversation. But right now, the MVP candidates are, especially after last week, very clearly Josh Allen, Saquon Barkley. Lamar Jackson has played himself out of MVP talk.
That's because Lamar Jackson is not a good quarterback. I'll say that till I'm blue in the face. I do not care. But here, let me get you the actual odds real quick.
It's fine. Allie says Josh Allen MVP. I'm going to be yes.
Yeah,
it's a quarterback. It's a quarterback-driven award, right? Like, obviously, we understand that. But if Saquon Barkley breaks Eric Dickerson's record and CJ2J's all-purpose yards record in the same season, how do you not give it to Saquon Barkley?
Well, I mean, to be fair, he's the first non-quarterback to, I think, be this close to being the front runner since I think Derrick Henry was doing it when he broke his foot in week 8, 4 years ago.
Okay.
And he was on pace to break that record as well. And but yeah, it's Josh Allen minus 220, then Barkley at plus 350, and then Lamar Jackson, Jared Goff, and then the odds just get stupid after that. Yeah. Josh Allen winning this unless Barkley beats those records.
Okay, so you agree if Barkley does get both of those records, how do you not give it to Saquon Barkley, right? Like, how do you look at the season as a whole and think to yourself, he doesn't deserve to be the MVP of the season?
Yeah, it just really sucks because the Eagles last year, they went to the playoff.
Yeah. And,
I mean, they backtracked into it. The offense looked terrible, didn't know what was going on. Hey, look, it's because I'm here. I'm talking to Zero.
I mean, I don't mind doing shows that are longer than 30 minutes. I just have heard feedback from people that 30 minutes is like the sweet spot. So I try to keep them in 30 minutes.
Oh, yeah, no, we definitely, on Friday podcast, we don't care about time, but.
Which is fine because you get a bunch of clips from yours that you can post. And so when you do a 30-minute show, you don't got to do all those clips. You guys get a ton of clips.
Yeah, I need to start actually posting those more consistently. So
do I. TikTok's going away, so I got to figure out how to use Instagram. We're coming to Instagram, guys.
Oh, okay. Fun. I can make that work.
Yeah, TikTok is, I mean, not that it really matters for us because we weren't really utilizing it to its full potential, is going away. United States sliding some law or something.
Really?
Yeah.
No, the more you know.
Yeah, right? You learn something new every day.
Right? Or at least you should. Those are the game plans.
Yeah. You got anything else?
No, my weekend's pretty boring. The Broncos aren't playing, so.
Go Birds. Yeah, that's going to do it for us here on B.S.ing Sports, part of the B.S.ing Network, where we do a little BS and we talk a whole lot of sports. Thank you and have a good night.